you want me to go ahead and hit record, or you want to do it so it's on your computer, Brody?
I just hit record, so we'll start now. And so.
Oh, sweet. Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
And then
Thank you.
Of course.
Awesome. Okay, so can you all, am I sharing? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And I wanted to say also, if you'd like to kind of click along with me while I'm doing this, you can go to your Digication environment and do everything that I'm doing. And that is located at luc.digication.com.
I just dropped that in the chat window.
Perfect. I was just about to do that, but you beat me to it. Thank you. So if you want to hop over there, you can kind of follow along. I'm going to be working in my own system, but it's going to look just like yours. Okay. So when you first log into Digication, you are going to be asked to accept terms and conditions. So if you haven't done that already, you'll go ahead and do that. And then after you do that, you'll be taken to this, this screen here, which is what we call the dashboard. I'm logged in as a faculty in the system that I'm in as well. So this should be what you're seeing if you have the faculty role in your system. At the top, there's an area that says create new e-portfolio, and you'll see these thumbnails here. These are templates. And what we're gonna do today is show you how to create your own template that you could share with students so it would show up on their dashboards like this one does. But in order to create a template, you have to first make an e-portfolio. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Have to use one of these initial templates to create your own customized template. So that's what we're gonna do. Underneath this Create New ePortfolio area, you'll see a section that says Course, Assessment Group, Community. These are the three types of workspaces or groupings that we have in Digication, and they are functionally all exactly the same. They have all the same features. The reason they have different names is because over the years, these are the types of groupings that schools have found useful. So oftentimes, schools will use courses to be academic courses that are, coming from your student information system, when an assessment group might be a group of students who aren't in an academic course together, but they need to be grouped for assessment purposes or for a different program. And once you have a course in Digication, the thumbnail for that course will appear in this area. Some of you may already have a course in that area because they have loaded some courses in, I know. As an instructor, you also have the ability to create a new course. And we'll talk about that in a second. But we're gonna start first with just ePortfolio. And I did wanna mention over on the left-hand side, you'll see these little icons. And each of these are different things that you can access. The little initials will take you to your profile area where you can add a picture, edit things about your profile. The home button will always take you back to this dashboard page that we're on right now. People will take you to a list of the users in the system. Courses will show you courses in the system. And ePortfolios will take you to what we call the ePortfolio directory. There isn't one in this particular system with ePortfolios populated, but students can choose, or you can choose to create an ePortfolio that isn't public. It isn't fully public and anyone can see the URL, but they can make it visible in this directory. And that can be useful, if students want to be able to share their work in a smaller group, but not to the whole wide world. Okay, those are kind of the main important things on this sidebar. And you'll notice that the sidebar changes depending where we are. It is a context specific menu. So we'll see a few more options when we hop into an ePortfolio. Okay, but for now, let's start by just creating an ePortfolio. To do that, I'm gonna click on this thumbnail. Oh, okay, Sandra, I just saw this in the chat, not able to get in. Sandra, are you in Safari by any chance? Try Google Chrome or Firefox if you aren't able to connect.
I was in Google Chrome.
You were in Chrome, okay.
So it's luc.digication.com.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I got in here. But it's saying not secure. Attackers might be trying to steal your information. And then there's an advanced and a back to safety.
Did you do www.luc.digication.com?
No. Well,
okay.
I mean, when I click in there, it automatically goes in there. but let me try doing this way.
Yeah, try and remove the www. Is anyone else having issues getting in?
No, it still is not working.
Huh.
Digication.com.
Yes, it should look like this. Here, I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Can you click on that link? Oh, just that Brianna just added to. Thank you, teamwork. And see if that works for you.
Okay. I mean, here we go. Okay, so without the W's, HTTPS. All right, let's try that.
Okay. And just drop us a note in the chat, Sandra, if you're still having issues.
Yep.
And maybe that worked?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Okay, good. Well, where we are is we're just on this dashboard area, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to choose these two templates are just default system templates. The student template has more kind of structure and pages in it. I'm going to do the create from scratch because I want to sort of build with you so you can see what it looks like to add pages, to add modules. And the create from scratch is a one-page template, so it's very basic. So I'm going to click on this thumbnail. And I'm going to actually create an e-portfolio, but I'm creating this e-portfolio in order to make it a template for my students, okay? So I'm going to say English 1101 template, just so I know that's what I'm creating. I'm adding a title here. The URL is generated automatically. You can always edit that if you want to have a specific URL for your e-portfolio, but I'm just going to leave it with what it generated. And then down here at the bottom, if you decide last minute you want to switch your template, you can switch to a different one, but I'm going to stick with create from scratch. So I've given it a title and I've selected my template. I'm going to click create. And now the system is going to create my e-portfolio for me. Now this is a one-page template, so it gets created pretty quickly. If there are additional pages, it might take a little longer, but what normally happens is in just a few seconds, the e-portfolio will be created and you'll be taken straight to it. So right now I'm in a draft e-portfolio that I just created using the create from scratch template. So a couple of things to note here. Up at the top, we have an option to view edit mode or publish view. And you'll notice if I hover over publish view, I can't go there. That's because I haven't published anything on this particular e-portfolio yet. Once you've published at least one page on your e-portfolio, you can flip-flop from the editing view, which allows you to add content and change what's on the page, and the publish view, which shows you what your e-portfolio looks like to folks who are viewing it, folks who have permission. At the top, you'll also see a little bar that says your changes have not been published yet. That's because Digication is always continually auto-saving what you're doing in the background, and it's just reminding you that, hey, if you've done anything, it's not public yet. It's not published on your e-portfolio, so no one can see it, okay? All right. So down underneath that yellow bar, which will be there as we make changes, you'll see kind of a section up here at the top with the dark background. This is what we call the header section. And this is very typical in a website. It's the top of the website. It appears on every page of the website. It has a space for a title, and then it also has a navigation bar. And that's this white area right here. And as I said, there's only one page on this particular e-portfolio, the home page. So the first thing I want to do is add my name, or add the name of this e-portfolio template that we're creating. To do that, I need to click on this little padlock on the right-hand side. The reason the header section is locked is because we had a lot of users who would accidentally add things to their header, and then it would be on every page of the e-portfolio. And then they'd say, why is this on every page? So now we have a little reminder that you're adding it to the header. So you have to click the lock to unlock. And now it tells you, hey, you're in the header, so if you put anything here, it's going to be on every page. So if that happens to a student, that is a very common mistake initially. If they say, hey, my paper's on every page, they probably put it in the header. So now that I've unlocked it, I can make edits. And in this whole section, this top part here, like I said, we have content, and these are called modules. So the sections are kind of And you can see this on the page. The dark part at the top is the header section. Then underneath, you've got a light gray area. That's another section. And you can add as many sections as you want on pages of your ePortfolio. It's just kind of a way to keep things organized. A module is when you actually add content. So this area here where it says add your name is what we call a rich text module. And I'll show you some of the other modules we have in a minute. So if I want to add my name here, I'm just going to click on the module. And you'll notice that when I clicked on the module, down at the bottom, some information popped up at the bottom of the template. This is what we call a short text prompt. And it's a way for you to add information to your template to help sort of scaffold your students through using the template that you've created. So short text prompts are always attached to a specific module. So in this case, when I hit the title text module, I got this information here. And if you ever want to add that to your template, I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click the pencil here to add my name or add the name of the template. And I'm going to say English. Actually, I am going to make it a template. English 1101 template. Add your name. So this tells the students that this is the English template and that I want them to put their name there. Now you'll notice that the words kind of disappeared a little bit. So I need to make this wider so they'll stretch out across the header section. And you'll notice right here it says resize to see the hidden content. If I hover and pull this over, I can make it longer and I can also make it wider, okay? And every module in Digication has that ability. And sometimes this little auto resize will appear, and if you click on it, it will automatically shrink it up to just capture the content that's in there. I don't want this to be so far away from my name area, so I can take this menu, hover over the navigation bar, and then click on this little cross icon, and that allows me to move the module. So if I move it, I can scoot it up, and then it's all nice and neat, okay? And so like I said, any module that you add to a section in Digication is gonna have the ability to move it around, to shrink it, to make it smaller. And when you kind of hover over that and move things, you'll notice a grid appears in the background, and that just kind of helps everything stay nicely aligned. Okay, so I've added some extra information at the top. And since, again, we're building a template here, if I wanted to add some information to make this, add a short text prompt, I can click on this gear underneath the edit pencil to get a settings area for the rich text module. So when I click on the gear, it opens up all this information on the left-hand side. Now you can go crazy customizing your modules. And some students really love to do that. And some faculty really love to do that too. But having said that, you don't need to know how to do everything in the settings area to have a beautiful template or an ePortfolio. There's just nice settings for you to be able to access. And I did want to show you where the short text prompt is in case that's something you want to use. So when I have my gear, my settings open for this module, if I click on this drop-down arrow where it says module options, there's an option for enabling short text prompt. And when you do that, it opens this up and you can add instructions. You don't have to use this, but it's just a way for you to provide information for your students about what they're supposed to be doing in this particular module. And these prompts are only viewable in edit mode. Once they flip to published, someone who's just viewing the ePortfolio was not gonna see these instructions. Okay, so I'm gonna close my settings and then I'm gonna come back over here and click on the navigation area because I want to add a few additional pages to my template, my ePortfolio that I'm making a template. So to add pages to the ePortfolio, I'm going to click on this navigation area and then click the pencil. When I click the pencil, it takes me to a page settings area. And to add a new page, all you have to do, and you'll see my cursor is right here on the first page. If I hit enter, it gives me a blank to add another page. You can also add a page by clicking this add new page button at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a few pages. My particular ePortfolio that I want students to make is just gonna be kind of a general ePortfolio about them. Let's see, resume and co-curriculars. All right. One thing I did want to show you too in this area. So what I've done here is I've added 4 new blank pages to my ePortfolio. If I want to add a page, but I want it to be on a drop down, I can hover over the page I've created. When you hover like this, you can also move it around on the menu. But I can also kind of pull it over to the right so it's indented under, and you'll notice now co-curriculars is under About Me. So when we save this and go back, you'll see that that's now a drop down of the About Me page. So this is a nice way, especially if you're creating a larger ePortfolio or a larger template, to organize your pages so you don't have a menu that's taken up the entire top half of your page. Okay, so other quick note about page settings. If I click on the gear over here, it gives me the option to make a page private. This can be helpful if maybe a student's working on a page that they don't want their instructor or classmates to see yet, but they want it to go ahead and be on the ePortfolio. And the heading option allows you to just make a tab on the menu. So it's not an actual page that can have content added to it. It's just a tab that exists for a dropdown. Alrighty, so I've added my pages. I'm ready to save. I'm going to go back down here and click save. So it's saving my changes. And now you'll notice I have these pages that I've added to the ePortfolio, which is great. And there's the dropdown that we talked about. And just as a note, just like the rich text module, you can also click on the gear for the nav menu and go crazy with changing what color the menu is, the font, the buttons, anything like that. You can add a background, different colors and images. So you have a lot of options for customizing here. I would recommend getting used to just adding kind of a basic structure first. And then once you're comfortable with that, you can go back and go crazy with images. Okay. So this is, our header section looks pretty good now. I think I'm ready to go and start adding some content to my homepage. Are there any questions about the header before I keep on trucking and add content? No? Pretty straightforward? Thank you. Cool. Okay. So you'll notice underneath the header section, we have another section, and this is just a section where content can be added to the page. Something I wanted to note about sections is that there's another way for you to provide instructions to your students that are just visible when they're editing. And if you don't want it to be a prompt that kind of pops up like this, but you want it to be visible on the page the entire time they're working, you can do what's called an instruction section. So right here, this section here, if I wanted to make it instructions for my students, I'm going to click on the gear. And over here where it says section options, I can turn this section into instructions. So what happens when I turn this on is I get this little header at the top that says, this is only viewable while editing. If you're going to use the instruction sections, I highly recommend making this a different color than the rest of the page so students know that it's for them to read and not for them to add content to. This is also another common mistake, is that students will add information to the instructions area, and then when they publish the ePortfolio, it disappears. So just know that that happens, and you might do it too, and that is totally okay. So I am actually going to just change this background color so it does look different than the rest of the page. If I want to do that, I'm going to change this back area here is what's called the bottom layer background. So I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to make it dark like that. Okay. I see a script. Someone does not like my color choice. I can tell. Okay. All right. So I've made this change. I'm going to close it, and then I'm going to add instructions to this area. So to do that, I need to add a rich text module, which allows me to add the instruction text. I'm going to add content by clicking this button, and then I'm taken into the library, which has all of the different options for adding contents to your ePortfolio. And we're just going to start with straight up rich text, but I'll show you some of the other ones as we're adding stuff to the template. So I'm going to pick rich text. And now I've got a little rich text module here, and I can, like I said, move it around. I can make it wide so it takes up the whole page. It's really up to you how you want to space it. And then I'm just going to add some instructions here. I'm going to say the home page is a great place to provide some information about yourself. Okay, so I've added some instructions. I want to auto resize, so it automatically makes this section a little bit bigger. And so now this is an instruction area for my students. If you're going to provide instructions like this, I also highly recommend that you then add a space for the students to actually put their content instead of kind of, and you can give them a blank page if you want to, but I think initially it's really helpful to create spaces for them to put their work. So now that we've told them what we want them to do, let's create some space for them to actually do it. So I'm going to add, underneath my instruction sections, another section to the ePortfolio. This is where the students will actually be working. I'm going to click the plus sign that's down in the lower right-hand corner, and that little plus sign is always there for you to add content. And now I'm going to actually pick section, because this is what's going to create that additional section on the page. So now, again, I have my section. It's a different color, and it says there's no content here. Well, let's add a text module so the students can add some text. So I'm going to click Rich Text Module. And what I'd like to do here is add a text area and then maybe a space for them to add a picture. So I'm going to make this a little narrower. I'm going to actually make that a little wider. And then you can put instructions in here. Add some information about yourself. You can also add automatically add a title to a rich text module if you click on the gear. So if I click on the gear and then go to the options, I can say about me, or actually let's not say about me, biography, and then display the module name, and then it automatically shows up there. Okay, so this is just, again, you can restyle all of this. This is just a way for them to see what they're doing. So I've added a rich text module. Now I want to add a picture to the page. And I'm going to actually add in the instructions here. Add some information about yourself and replace the image with one of your own. So that's what I want them to do. To add an image, you can either just drag and drop it directly on the page, or you can go to this area here and upload it. I'm going to show you what the drag and drop looks like because it's cool. So here is my little finder, and I'm just going to grab a picture and drag it onto the page. And it's going to add it to whatever the lowest section is. Okay, so it just added it straight to the page for me. So now I need to resize this because it looks kind of wacky where it is right now. So I'm going to resize the content and then just scoot it up on the page. There we go. And when you have a picture like this, again, you can, there are options for settings. All the modules have this gear. If I pop it open, I can choose full size, or I can choose best fit, which makes it a little bit, will basically resize the image to whatever size I make the module. And I like using best fit if I'm trying to make nice kind of even looking boxes on the page. You can also make images a link if you want it to go to an external website or another page on their ePortfolio. Something else that I wanted to show you about adding images is that if you add multiple images at the same time, it will automatically create a gallery for you of the images that you can click through. So if I had selected 3 images and drag and drop them on the page, it would create a gallery for me. Since I've already added this one, if I click the pencil and then do add more items, I can upload a file. So upload an image. And I'm just going to click here to select a file, and I will pick a different image to upload. And I upload it. And now it's automatically created a gallery. So you'll see now it's got these little arrows on the side. So you can scroll through, you can set it to autoplay. You can also add captions to each image if you want to. So if I click on this pencil, I can say, this is me in Germany. It's not actually me in Germany, but that's just my caption for now. Okay. And you can do a different caption for each page. And you can also restyle these captions. You can also change the view. So you have all these options with the gallery. And students really like this because they can drag a bunch of stuff in here and be able to put it. Oftentimes they'll do it with papers too. You can do it with PDFs and Word docs. So very cool feature. But the idea is, you know, right now, since we're building a template, is that students would be able to then come here and replace this image with an image of their own on the ePortfolio. It's just giving them a space. Okay. So let's look at a few more kinds of content, and then we'll publish the page so you can see what that looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and click on my plus sign again and just show you a few of the things that you can do. So rich text, obviously you're gonna use a lot. An upload file allows you to upload a PDF, a Word doc. You can upload images through here. Any Word document that is uploaded is going to be converted to a PDF. So if a student wants formatting to be a very specific way, we will sometimes recommend that they go ahead and just save it as a PDF from Word so it saves how things look. Occasionally with Word docs, the page breaks don't come across, so it'll kind of be just a blank at the bottom of the document, which can be frustrating for students. So just as an FYI about that. They can also take pictures, record video, and record audio right in the ePortfolio and have it uploaded automatically. We see a lot of language professors use this if they want students to practice, or just if you want to have them do some kind of quick sharing that's kind of more off the cuff, that's not, you know, just click record video and discuss something right in their ePortfolio. The embed option over here, this is where YouTube links would go. It will embed a video, Vimeo links, any video embed technology that uses what's called OAuth typically works with Digication. You know, YouTube is obviously going to be the one that people use the most. If you have something that you want to embed in Digication that doesn't work, you can always check with us and I can either help you figure it out or we can put it on our list of things that we'd like to get embedded. But generally speaking, the ePortfolio just wants the link, not like the iframe code, not the embed code, but just the link for the YouTube video. And if you come up here to the top, these little buttons at the top have all of the options in the library grouped by type. So if I click embed, you're going to see a bunch of different types of URLs that can be embedded in Digication. And some of these technologies may not be relevant anymore, but many of them are. So just so you know that that's there, SlideShare, Flickr, Facebook, all kinds of different things in here. If I click image, upload file, Getty Images, document, these are they can connect to their Google Drive, Box.com, GitHub, they can connect to share code. So lots of options in here. And all of the modules generally work in the same way. When you click and add them, they're going to be added to the bottommost section on the page. So if you want something to be underneath this section, you would want to go ahead and add another section. You know, you can always put lots of modules in one section, or you can make multiple sections on the page. It just kind of depends on how you want to organize things. Something that's nice about the sections is that on a mobile device, they will stack really nicely and neatly, so the content is easy to view. Okay, so are there any questions about adding content? Or did you see anything that, did you not see anything that you were hoping you would be able to do? Okay, cool. So what I want to do now is publish the page, show you what that looks like, talk a little about permissions, and then we can hop into a course. So if I want to publish what I've done here, and let's pretend I filled this out and it's a beautiful template and every page is populated with spaces for my students to add their content. I can always just click publish changes at the top of the page, or I can go over to this menu in the top right corner, and that's kind of the ePortfolio settings menu. And I have the option to publish this page or publish pages. If you want to publish multiple pages you've been working on, this is the option you'll want to choose. So if I click publish pages, it's going to take me to this little tree of all the pages that are in my ePortfolio, and it'll show me the ones that are still in draft status. if you uncheck all pages, it's going to uncheck all of the pages, and then you can just pick particular pages to publish. So they don't have to publish every page at once if they don't want to. So I could just choose to do the About Me page, since that's the only page that has any content on the ePortfolio. I'm just going to publish them all in their blank glory. Okay, so I've selected all of my pages, and I'm going to come down here to the button that says Publish, and I'm going to click Publish. Since this is the first time I've ever published this ePortfolio before, it's going to take me to the ePortfolio settings page. Once you've published it an initial time, when you click Publish, it's just going to kind of save what you've done, okay? This is the page where I determine who can see the ePortfolio once it's in a published state. So at this point, I can change the URL or the template. Underneath this top part, where I can add a thumbnail to, there's a section called Permissions and Share, and this is really important because even if you provide students with a template that has certain permissions on it and has certain content on it, they ultimately can always change those permission settings because we want them to be able to control the privacy of their content. So here, this says private to me. This means only I can access it. If I click edit, I also have the option to do private within school. So in your system, it will say private within Loyola University Chicago. That means that anyone who can log into Digication at your school can see this ePortfolio if they go to the URL. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be on their dashboard. It doesn't mean that they'll ever even stumble upon it. But if they did, they would be able to see it. And then public means it's completely public. You could send it to a prospective employer and they could look at it and they wouldn't need to log in or anything like that. I'm going to keep this as private to me for right now. But if you keep it private to just yourself, you can also share it with other people. So this would be where if a student wanted to share their ePortfolio with you as an instructor or with a course, they could do it here. Now I'm going to show you when you create a template, you can add this course sharing setting on the template for your students so they don't have to actually go and do this when they're publishing their ePortfolio. But I just want you to know that this permission is here so students understand it, so you understand it. If I click edit, I can type for, let's see, what is my course called? It's called Digication Test Site. So here it is. So if I wanted to share this ePortfolio with this course, I could type it in. Students will only see courses, that they are enrolled in. So they're not going to see every course in the system. They'll only see users and courses that they're enrolled in. Require password for access would mean if it was private, you could also, or you can make it public and require a password for access if you just wanted certain people to see it. And then this part in the bottom where it says show in directory, that is the section I showed you before where it said ePortfolios. This just means that if you go to the directory and you have permission to see my ePortfolio, you would be able to find it in there. It does not mean that it's public to everyone in the system. It's only visible to folks who already have access to it. And the directory categories are something that your super administrator could set up if you wanted to, have a program, certain departments had categories, so you could easily see grouped ePortfolios. Okay, so I'm going to keep mine in the directory. I'm going to just share it with myself right now, and then I'm going to click Save Settings. So what I've created now is an ePortfolio, which is great, but I want it to be a template so my students can use it because that's what I built it for. So now I'm going to go back over here to my settings menu. And down here, there's an option to add as template. And so it's important to understand that ePortfolio has its own individual URL. It can be edited, content can be added to it, everything we've been building here. Once you save it as a template, you can't make changes to it anymore because it's become a template. You can change the name and you can change who can see it, but you cannot change the content. So make sure that your template is ready before you save it as a template. Now, having said that, you can make as many ePortfolios and as many templates as you want in this system. So if you need to make another one that's exactly the same, but one word is different, you can do that. But just so you know, you're not going to be able to make edits once you've saved it as a template. So I'm going to click Add as Template. It's saving it as a template, and it's going to take me to a screen asking me about who am I sharing this template with. So in this case, our system automatically appends dash template to the end. So I'm going to remove that because I don't want it to be template. I just want it to be template. You can add a template description. The license is, if you want it to be an open educational resource, you can just kind of leave that blank. At this point, I can either click continue or I can click who can see the template at the top of the page. This determines who can use the template to create an e-portfolio. So this would be where you would share it with your course. So if I want to share it with, and I'm actually going to share it with this Digication test course here. When I choose this course, it automatically adds all faculty and all students in the course. So that means anyone who's enrolled in or an instructor in Digication test site will see this template when they go to create an e-portfolio. When you come through Sakai, do you all have a special personalized name for Sakai, Brody? Or no, you just call it Sakai. Okay. When you come through Sakai and share a template, it adds this for you automatically. And we may not have time to cover that today, but it basically, it detects that you're in a course because you're coming from the LMS, and it says, oh, do you want to share it with this LMS course that you're in? And you can automatically add it. If you didn't want to share it with, faculty specifically or students specifically, you can X them off of this permission, but in most cases, this is what you're looking to do. So I'm going to add this course, and then I'm going to click continue. The last page of settings determines when someone uses your template to create an e-portfolio, what are the default settings on that e-portfolio, right? So if you are sharing a template with your students and you want them to create an e-portfolio that they share with you or share with their classmates, you want to add the course setting here. That last settings page just said, hey, they can use the template. This page says, yes, they can use a template, and when they create their e-portfolio, that e-portfolio is going to be shared with these people. Now, again, students always have the ability to remove those permissions, but this just kind of makes it a little easier on them so they don't have to hunt for their course, right? You share a template and you say, hey, this is the English template, and when you create your e-portfolio, it's got the default permissions on it. If you didn't want them to share it with their classmates, you can click edit here and you can remove this. You could also, if you wanted to make something that everybody could work on together, you could make them all editors on an e-portfolio. So you have options here for the roles. I'm going to leave the rest of these settings blank. The show and directory one is the same one I showed you before, but remember, we're determining the settings for any e-portfolios created using your template. So I can say, yes, I want it to be in the directory when they create it. These down here, prompt user to choose a course for sharing. This just means that if the sharing wasn't already on the e-portfolio, you can prompt them when they're publishing to choose a class to share it with. But we've already got that sharing setting on the template. And then this option down here is, in some of our medical programs, they create e-portfolios that are meant to stay private. And so there's a little warning to remind people, hey, don't publish this. This is for a private e-portfolio. So in most cases, you can probably leave that blank too. Okay, so I've decided who I want to share my template with. I'm going to go ahead and save settings. So now this is a template, okay? So what that means is I still have my e-portfolio that I created, okay? Where'd you go? Oh, I know what's happening. Sorry, y'all. I was logged into the LMS before, so it thinks I'm still in there. Let me go back to my home page. Here we go. Okay. So now this is a little confusing, and this is my fault because I named it that way. You'll never see a template on the dashboard of your page, okay? This top part only shows you e-portfolios. So this is the e-portfolio I built to make a template. Where you'll see templates is when you go to create an e-portfolio. And once you've created one, those thumbnails disappear, and now you just need to click this plus sign that's in the right-hand corner. And when I click the plus sign, you'll notice I now have my create from scratch, my student template, but I also have this English 1101 template. What I want to do now is just log in as a student really fast so you can see what they see. And then maybe we can pause a sec for questions. Or let me go ahead and see if anybody has any questions right now. I was so clear.
You were been very thorough, very thorough.
Okay. I know it's a lot of information, and I also know that when you get in there and start doing it yourself, you're going to be like, what did she do? Where was she clicking? So it's good that we have it recorded, but that's also what we're here for, is to help. You know, what I could do really fast is just hop into Sakai, because I did share it with the Sakai course to show you what that looks like, Brody, if that's of interest.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. Oh, you wanted to do classes. Let me do that instead, because you asked specifically about that.
We'll do classes. We'll do another Sakai training.
We'll do a Sakai one later. Okay. So I'm just going to go into this course that I already have, because I know I wanted to talk briefly about the assignments area. Yeah. So I'm still in as my faculty. I'm still, and this is courses on my dashboard because I'm faculty in the course. So this is what my course space looks like. And I'm going to click on the ePortfolios tab. You'll notice on the ePortfolios tab, the template that I shared is here. So, you know, students will also see the template when they click the plus sign to create an ePortfolio, but if they come to the course space, the template also lives in this area, which can help them if they're in multiple classes that are using multiple templates. The assignments area is what I wanted to touch base with you about. So the assignments area allows you to create an assignment space, basically like a folder where students can submit their entire ePortfolio or pages of their ePortfolio. When they submit it in this assignment area, it creates a date-stamped, time-stamped archive, like a snapshot of the ePortfolio at that particular moment in time. So their live ePortfolios still exist and they can still make changes, but the archive is preserved. So this can be really nice if you want to, you know, in a course setting, kind of record the progression of their ePortfolio over the semester, right? They could submit at different times and you can see a snapshot of it kind of as it's progressing. You know, this can also be used for more department level or programmatic assessment if you want to collect ePortfolios over, you know, a semester over many courses, and then we can pull out the archive so you can review them, the snapshots. So what I'm going to do is just show you real quick how to make an assignment in this area. I'm going to click Add Assignment. I'm going to call it ePortfolio About Me page. So I just saved it. You can add a description if you want to, but there's space in here as well to tell students what they need to be doing. The assignment folder has been created, but right now there's no steps in it. And a step, it would be where the student actually submits their work. I'm going to click on Add Step here. And you have some options. Every assignment needs to have at least an evidence step in order for students to be able to submit. And you can have an assignment that just has that. And that basically gives them a space to submit their ePortfolio. So we'll do that first. So I clicked on evidence and I clicked add this step. And I'm going to say ePortfolio About Me page again. And then say, please submit your About Me page draft here. So students will see that description when they're submitting. This area here lets you say, when do I want it to be available to them? When do I want to close it? Who can see it? Just the student being assessed. If you want them to be able to submit multiple times, you want to check yes here. If you don't check that, then as soon as they submit, the assignment is closed to them, even if they submitted the wrong page. So it can be useful for you to leave this open just in case people submit the wrong thing to the assignment. If they do, we can always unlock it for them with your permission, of course, and you can always unlock them for them too. But just so you know, that allows them to submit more than once. And if they do submit more than once, there's going to be a different date-stamped archive for each of those submissions. Okay, so I've given some instructions. I want it to be available immediately, and then I'm going to save it. In addition to the evidence step, I'm going to click Add Step again. You can also add spaces for you to provide feedback to students. So I can add a rubric here. We can build rubrics in your system if you need them. You can also build rubrics in your system. We're happy to help with that though. There's also a space for teacher reflection where you can just enter rich text and comments about the ePortfolio. I'm going to click rubric. and say about me rubric. I definitely, if you have like a rubric that you want to use that's in Word doc, you can recreate it in the system. We can also help with that. So we don't want that to be something that kind of takes up a bunch of your time in the beginning. And we're happy to help get those in the system or help Brody get them in the system. So I've added the rubric. I'm going to say it's available after the previous step is completed. So that just means that I'm not going to do anything with this rubric until the student actually submits their work. And this step is for you. The students can see the feedback once you've added it, but this is actually a faculty step for you to fill out the rubric. Then I'm going to say I want this particular step to assess the ePortfolio About Me page. And then right now there's no rubric selected. If I click change here, there are no rubrics in this system because this is my Sakai system. I can create a rubric right here. And this is just a very kind of manual process. I'm just gonna make a ridiculous rubric so you can see what it looks like. So I'm gonna add label, excellent. Then you'll see I'm just clicking and good. I don't even know what theme. And click here. And grammar. This is not a rubric making workshop, obviously. So in here, I can add what the actual standards for the rubric are, or what the criteria are for these particular things in the rubric. And I'm really just showing you this to show you proof of concept. This is a terrible rubric. Okay, so I've created my rubric. I've added a passing score. I'm going to hit done. And your administrator and I have an interface where we can make the rubrics in a much more streamlined fashion, just so you know. But if you needed to kind of quickly make a rubric for your class, you can do it in this interface. So I'm going to save. Make sure my rubric is, where did my rubric go? Here it is. This is the one I want. Good. Did I not give it a name? Is that why? Hold on. Change. Here we go. About me rubric. Sorry, I can't leave that misspelling in there. Okay, save, and then I'm gonna go down to done. Okay. Okay, it should be in there now, perfect. So now, what this looks like if I go to my assignments area is now I have one assignment created and I have this grid with the students. The only student in this class is Wally Bishop, and this S means that I'm still waiting for Wally to submit his ePortfolio. Let me log in really quick as Wally and I'll show you what it looks like to submit, because I think Wally does actually have an ePortfolio. Okay, so now I'm in as a student. You'll notice I have my English 1101 template up there at the top because I haven't made any ePortfolios yet, and because I'm seeing this because I'm enrolled in the class that we shared the template with, okay? I'm gonna ignore that for now. Actually, I'm not, because I wanna make an ePortfolio to submit, but let's go into my class. Oh, I'm in my class. I wanna make an ePortfolio. Oh, look, there's a template that my instructor shared with me. I'm gonna create an ePortfolio. I'm gonna do this very quickly so you can see what it looks like. I'm gonna pick my template and create. And so all the pages that we created are in the template now, and it's creating this space for Wally to do his work. And you'll notice it takes a little bit longer because there are additional pages. Okay, so now it's done creating. And at any second, it's gonna take me to the ePortfolio. Great, so now you'll see the ePortfolio template we created. I'm gonna come down here and add some information, and then I'm gonna publish it and show you what it looks like to submit. Okay, it looks great. I'm ready to go. Let me add my name at the top too. Okay. So I'm ready to publish. I'm gonna click Publish Changes. And this says, hey, your ePortfolio is set to be private. Do you wanna see what permissions are on there? And then it tells you the permissions that we put on the template, right? So share with my course, show in directory. I'm cool with that. So I'm just going to save the settings and publish the page. So now, if I click to publish view up at the top, you'll see the instructions disappear and the content that I added, and just the page that I published is here. So my home page. If I go up here to my ePortfolio menu, now remember I'm a student right now, and go to submit to assignment, it's going to show me any ePortfolio assignments that are available to me. So I don't even have to go into that course space necessarily to submit, okay? But here it is. I want to submit to the About Me page, and I can just submit one page if I want to, okay? I don't have to submit them all. So I'm going to just submit my About Me page. Now it's a draft because I didn't publish it before, but Digication is asking if I want to go ahead and publish that page and submit it. And I'm fine with doing that. Actually, I'm going to do the home page because it actually has content on it. Okay. So I'm going to submit. And now it's going to process the request. So once students submit, they can always go into their ePortfolio menu and see a list of their submissions. And so it will tell them if something went awry and they weren't able to submit appropriately. Once it's done submitting, I can click on View Submission, and I'll see this archived version of my ePortfolio. So this will never change. It was submitted on August 26th at this time, and I cannot make edits to this. So that's that snapshot that I was talking about. And then I can close this, and I'm back to my editable ePortfolio. Now the student can also go directly into the course and go to the assignments area and submit from here. But especially if you're coming from Sakai, it's nice to they don't even have to go into this area. They can just go to their ePortfolio and submit from that menu in the corner. Now you as the instructor will still have to build the assignment in this area, but it makes it pretty user-friendly for them to just be able to do it from their ePortfolio. And I'm going to log back in as instructor and show you what it looks like now that they've submitted. And then I'm going to see if you have any questions, because we only have 3 minutes. So here I am. I'm back in as the instructor, and here's my class. And look, it's telling me, oh, hey, Wally Bishop completed a submission. Now you can begin work on your rubric. So I can click this. It's going to take me right to the rubric for Wally's work. And here's the work I'm assessing, and I can view the ePortfolio. It pops up in another window. So if I want to get creative, I can put them beside each other and fill out my rubric while I'm viewing his ePortfolio. Okay. I just did a speed walkthrough on assignments. So do y'all have any, do y'all have any questions? I know that is also a lot of information, but we have some really good documentation on our help desk at support.digication.com for all the things I showed you. And also you have wonderful Brody to assist. What can I answer for you?
So I am in my Digication, and I'm looking at one of my classes from the thing, and I pulled it up, but I don't have an option for creating an assignment. I just have a tab that says notifications, people, and settings.
Okay. Are you faculty?
I am.
Yes.
Of course, broke my right arm, so maybe that's why. Maybe he's just doing it for me. I don't know.
So can you go? Let's see. And I wish let me actually. Do you care if I pull it up on my screen?
I don't care.
Okay. And maybe we can look and see. Is that okay, Brody?
Of course, for me.
Okay. Tell me your name.
Sure. I'm Deborah Sullivan.
I see you. There you are.
I'm here.
Okay, yep. You are definitely faculty. Not that I didn't believe you. I mean, in the system, not in no.
Okay, I look suspicious. I get it.
Okay, so I'm going to look you up and look your course up, and then so which course are you looking in?
Well, you can look at any of them, but look at
them?
Helps 481. Look
Got
at
it.
481.
481, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do, Deborah, is go to the settings area and then go to general info, and down at the bottom, and this is something, Brody, that this is great. We can change in the import file. So we should touch base with the IT folks, because they can turn this on. And you can turn on all the things that you need to turn on in that area. Do you see it?
So I clicked on settings. You're talking about in that course, right? In that class.
Yes.
So I've clicked on settings. Oh, all right, general info here.
Mhm.
All right. And then what do I do?
So if you scroll very down, it says, what tools do I need? And do you have check boxes? Perfect.
Yep.
And you can add we didn't go over gradebook or discussions, but I would definitely at least add portfolio and assignments. The gradebook is just for discussions, so that might not be as useful because students can see how they've done on their rubrics in the assignments grid. So
Rock on.
awesome. Great question. That was good and useful for everyone probably. It's like we planned it.
I like to be a plant.
That's excellent. So go ahead, Brody. Sorry.
And on that note, for those that I'm building out assessment groups for, so like Debbie, Bill, I see on the call as well, I've already populated some of those for the assessment group, not the courses. So I'm doing that manually. This has been done through the import system, like Carrie had mentioned, so we'll fix that. But
Okay.
You rock, Brody. Thank you.
anytime.
And that is 3. So if y'all don't have any other questions, let me know if I can help. That's what I'm here for. And it was nice to be able to hang out with y'all and show you around.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
And we will be having more trainings in the future. And so I'm adding all of your names, if you haven't been and getting my invitations already, to the listserv. So you'll be getting more information about trainings to come.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brody.
Thank you all.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.